Hey ladies, this is Underwired. Welcome to the show designed to uplift and support women all over the world.
Hey, I'm Lindsay. They call me the kindness kahuna and the imaginal connector. I love puppies, travel, great coffee, and all of you out there who love humanity.
I'm Betsy Wiersma, a serial entrepreneur and lover of doing good and having fun. My passion is connecting hearts and souls with art, ideas, and adventures.
Hey, I'm Shay Sparks. As an energetic catalyst and fearless communicator, I love to have great conversations with amazing people.
And I'm Sunny, mom of four, here to shed light on what really matters. Together, we're Underwired. And now for the show.
Welcome back to another fantastic episode of Underwired, the show that supports and uplifts women everywhere. So I am so excited to be joining with my beautiful, amazing co-host today. And, you know, you guys are just, we're so excited to be together. It's like, oh my gosh, we got to hit record. We forget. We're just so excited.
Somebody hit record
together. So I'm just curious. Let's kick off today with what's one word that you're feeling right now?
Who are you calling on, teacher?
Well, I'll call on you, Betsy. Let's start with you.
Let's start with Betsy because she doesn't have a word. My word's Hawaii because sometime recently I just got back from there. And thank you, God, for Hawaii. Nice job. Is what I'd like to say. Good job on Hawaii. All those islands. Nice job there.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm gonna call Lindsay. Because I'm going around the Brady Bunch screen.
I love Brady Bunch. Okay, so my word for the day, I think, really has to be window. And I don't know why, but it's like this
replacement window.
Maybe
Have you been watching too many advertisements?
Post hurricanes. No, anyway, the reason for it is really I've been sitting by windows all day, looking out and observing what goes on outside. But then I was also having some real reflection of the window into my own self and how that is so powerful. Like, what a cool experience to be able to observe and turn around and look in here as opposed to looking out there. And I would just encourage anyone to try it. But today my word is window. Look in and look out.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh, that's deep. Okay, I think that means
I love
Sunny.
that.
You got to kick it to Sunny because we're going around the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, go Sunny. Go Sunny.
Okay, so there's a lot of pressure because that was a really good one. My word is audit, not from necessarily a financial point of view, but I have been doing an audit of it's primarily business focused. So I met with my business coach and it's the end of the year as we're recording this, right? And so I am taking a look at everything that I'm lending my energy to and seeing what is that giving back to me, not in a selfish way or whatever, but you need to make sure that you're investing your time and your energy into things that are life-giving. Mm-hmm. So it has been a huge eye-opener for me. A lot of the stuff has been financial. I've been looking at, I pull up my credit card statement for my business and I go, am I using this program? Do I need this? Is there a better way for me to do this? Can I do this and combine a bunch of things as opposing, to have a bunch of different programs do it? And so far I've been able to save myself per year, according to my calculations. Again, this is financial, but about $8,000 in combining stuff and taking a second look at, do I really like just one, and I'm not trying to promote anything in particular, but I looked at my cell service, what provider I was working with, because that falls under my business. And I was paying a ridiculous amount of money. And we just put my son finally got a mobile phone. He's 12. And we put him on a certain service that was way cheaper. And I took a look at that service to say, hey, could that work for my business? They don't have business plans, but I could still make it work for, put it under like a personal line, but still have my business pay for it. Guys, I'm saving like ridiculous. I was paying almost $70 a month for one cell phone. And now that just got taken down to less than $15 a month.
Wow.
So I won't promote the service provider. If you want to know, call me.
Leave a note
I'll give you my referral code.
Then Yeah.
It's important to do that, right? And it doesn't, even if you don't have a business, I think it's important to do an audit of the things in your life that are taking the most amount of time. And what is that giving back to you? Is that making you a better person? Is that causing more frustration in your life? Is that bringing you joy? So that's my word, audit.
I'm seriously needing to do that in my closet. Thank you, Sunny. Okay.
Right.
Sunny, you know, I love that you said audit and how it affects your energy, because you literally just gave me my word, which is energy. And I'm noticing what my energy is like during certain times of the day and what it is that I'm doing that makes me have lower energy or higher energy. And it's fascinating to learn that I can go on less hours of sleep and have energy in the morning, and then I need a nap in the afternoon. And I used to beat myself up about like, oh, I can't believe I need a nap. And it's like, well, wait a minute here. I didn't get that much sleep. You know, I got maybe 5 hours of sleep, and some people can do well on that. That's great. I am not one of them. So I thought, well, if I get 5 hours of sleep and then work in the morning and then take a break, it's okay. And so I am noticing energy. That's my word.
Well, gosh, my word is so wimpy now because I didn't tell the whole story. I didn't tell you what I ate. I didn't tell you how I almost fell off the cliff. I mean, Hawaii was just kind of like, I assumed you all knew I almost fell off the cliff, but I digress. I think we should get on with this show, but I'm got to go switch my phone plan really quick. So if you guys can just cover me while I'm not talking, since I'm at the end, I'm going to switch my phone plan really quick.
There you go. So I am kicking off the word B, and that stands for brave. And just thinking about energy, I'm just thinking about how often we say no and how often we say yes, and how often we feel wimpy or weak when we say no. And actually, it is very brave when we say no, because we are checking in with ourselves first. And I am a full proponent of it's either a hell yes or it's a no. And if it doesn't sit that hell yes, like absolutely, let's do it, then I need to say no. And we forget, especially as women, that no is a complete sentence. Yeah. And so I am practicing
sound effects with that one.
Yes.
Without having to justify it is what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. Like we can just say no. You know, if you're a polite person, like I tend to be, I'm like, no, thank you. Or thank you for the invitation. This is not a good time, or whatever the case may be. But I don't have to give a complete explanation. I don't have to give any explanation. No is a complete sentence. So my question is to you guys, because I'm just thinking about how, you know, we're such good friends. How often do you find yourself regretting not saying no?
Can I go first?
Yes, please.
So as a recovering pleaser, I would say that was one of the banes of my existence when I was during my young children's age. So it was always about helping them to get to yes, as opposed to saying no. And while I would say no as a mom, I feel like even in my work, I would say yes to way too many things, and I got horrendously overextended. So that was a project in my early 40s, was cleaning that up. And I would say, you know, based on your question, how often do we regret it anymore? I don't, because I'm to the place now where I only say yes to the hell yeses. And if it is a no, it's going to come out pretty quickly. Like, that doesn't resonate for me. I don't want to do that. That doesn't feel good. You know, so I love that you're bringing that up, because it is brave to say no, especially the closer in people in our lives, whether it's your kids, spouse, you know, parents, whatever. They're the harder ones to say no to, because you so want their love and affection and approval. So I just would say that was a project, and it's challenging, and I'll stop there so we can pass it over to Betsy
Well, just before you do that, Betsy, I just want to say it's a work in progress, right? It's a
Always.
practice saying
Yeah,
no.
that's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, Betsy, what you got?
Well, I wasn't going to go deep because I wanted to work in my time in Hawaii when I went on this hike, which it's really about brave, but it also has to do with saying no. So the story goes, I'm not very sporty. My life theme is I like nature, don't get it on me. And so my husband said, let's do the Heritage hike, the Heritage Trail in Kauai. And I'm like, sure, because I've been walking, right? My fitness thing. And so let's take the road less traveled, C.S. Lewis, toward the beach side. Okay. And next thing I knew, I found myself in a crawling over boulders, over limbs, in sand, on a sheer rock cliff hike. And talk about brave, because my head was totally freaking out with a story called, oh my God, this is not you. You're not fit. Oh my gosh, you could fall. You're going to trip. You're going to sprain your ankle. You're going to be stuck here forever. What are you going to do? Okay. But I was super brave. And we also could have stopped along the way at any time. But I just kept saying, you can do this. You can do this. So I was very brave and I did it. But coming back, I said, no, I'm not going to go on that road. I did it. So I could stay in my accomplishment and say, I did the hard one, but I'm going to go back on the easier path because I can relax and take a breath and enjoy the walk instead of being in fear of my life being so present in every minute that the next rock, the next thing was going to take me down, right? But I think that's kind of like life. Like we can agree and be brave to do something huge and stretch and do it. Awesome. But then we can assess and say, okay, was all that mental thing worth it? Or can I say I did it? I went on the big ass hike. I survived. I got the great pictures. It was beautiful. And now I'm going to choose to take a different path. And that's kind of like what I think in life, right? Sometimes we blow it all up and then we see what works and what doesn't work, but we don't always have to hurt ourselves. We don't always have to say, yes, Betsy, and you're going to take the cliffside back, which I was like, I couldn't walk with my pants in that tightness. And I prayed about it. And the last piece to this was I heard my angel say, this path is just like your life. It's full of twists and turns and rocks and stumps. And if you know you can make the most dangerous path along the beach, you will get some of the benefits of that, but you also have times you can be good to yourself and take a more simple, less traveled road. So then I got to work in my Hawaii thing, not being quite so wimpy, because I did work in brave and path.
Nice.
Love it. Good job.
There you go.
Good job, Sunny.
I'm glad you're still here and you didn't fall down the
I
mountain.
know. I'm in one piece. Start there. One piece.
Yes. Nice.
For me, I would say I'm really good at saying no to my kids. As you guys know, I got 4 little kids. I say no a lot. I say yes a lot too, but I feel like I've mastered the saying no to my children. Saying no to other people is more of a challenge for me. But one interesting thing that I wanted to point out that I feel like is happening in my life, I don't know how much you guys have studied like quantum manifestations, okay? But when you put your energy out there and you say, this is what I want in my life, this is what makes me happy, bring me more of that, you will find that the stuff that you really should be saying no to starts to fall away.
Yes.
And
Amen.
that's what I'm noticing in my life right now. It's happened with, I've had 2 really difficult clients that I was like, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to suck this up. I'm going to push through this. And they just contact me and they're like, oh, we're going to move here and do this instead. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. It's happened countless times in the last couple months. And so I just keep putting positive energy out there. This is what I want in my life. I keep saying my affirmations and things like that. And I have found that the stuff that I should be saying no to is falling away.
Nice.
So then I don't have to say no.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
Hallelujah.
The universe is making the cosmic no for you.
Yes.
Yeah, I love those too.
I
That's
love
good.
that.
Me too.
Because I do want to make people happy. I do have a little bit of that in me that once, you want to make people happy and smile and stuff, but it doesn't have to be at your expense.
No,
So.
that's
True
important.
that. True
Yeah.
that.
True that.
here's what I heard from everyone as for a recap is that one, no one regretted saying no.
Mm-mm.
No. And when you say no, even if it's quietly to yourself, as in, I don't want to work with that person, it literally frees you up for the things that you do want.
Yep.
So audience, if you're struggling with that, saying no, just think about just the four of us, what we shared about saying no. It is really a gift to yourself when you say no, just like Betsy got on the way back. She was like, no, I'm going to take the easy way home this time. And she got to experience what easy, quote unquote, way looks like. So great job, girls. I love it. I'm going to kick it off to or hand it off to Sunny for R.
R. Are you guys having fun yet? R. Get it?
R.
Oh, we're seals now.
Or pirates. R.
R.
Pirate R. Arg.
Okay, so we're gonna RR today is going to be relationships, and it's a little bit of a shout out, but then I want to get some feedback from you guys and just chat about it in general. But I do have a shout out for my parents, Karen and Denny. Today, as we are recording this, it's the end of November, and they are celebrating their 49th wedding anniversary today.
Oh, yay.
Yes. And I just got off the phone with them. Just a huge shout out in general, just to kind of brag on them a little bit. I feel really fortunate to grow up in the home that I did, just because there was so much love. And they have always had a relationship that has been like a really great model for anybody, not just me, but I think they've inspired a lot of people because, you know, there's fewer and fewer people making it to say they've been married 49 years. And my husband earlier and I this month in November as well celebrated our 18th wedding anniversary. And so it's just kind of, November's a big month for us guys. We had a couple birthdays and stuff too. But I think it's important whether you're married or not. You know, one thing when I was talking to my parents today, the one thing that I thought was so special about them, because I asked them, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Because they're vacationing in Florida right now, ladies. They're in Florida. This is our group that's in Florida. They're in Marco Island right now. And so they're kind of going around doing stuff. They do this every year. They're always gone at this time. And so what are you guys going to do? And they just had this joy about them. And I just thought how wonderful that they have found someone, not that it necessarily has to be someone that you're married to, because some people don't get married. And, you know, some people find that kind of relationship in a friendship, right? Or some, maybe with with their child or something, I don't know, something like that. But how wonderful that is to have someone to go through life with and to share those moments with. And so I guess one thing I wanted to throw out to you ladies is, and you don't have to say who it is, but have you found somebody, even if you're not married, or is there someone that you know that you could share anything with in life, feel comforted by that person, like encouraged by that person, and it's okay if we're still looking for them. But I just thought I'd throw that out because it's important. You know,
I'm going to jump in and I'm going to say I'm taking applications for that person in a partner relationship.
Lucky person,
lucky magical man. Yes. And I have to say I have that in all of you.
Oh,
yes.
So
that's what I mean.
Go.
It can be friends, and it can be multiple people that fulfill that, because one of the things that I'm learning now, because I'm reading some books and stuff, and how unfair it is sometimes with our romantic relationships to put the burden on, you have to fulfill me, you have to be everything to me. That's not fair. No. That person was not designed or created to just fulfill your needs, right? That's kind of, we've made this kind of this Hollywood we've romanticized everything, right? And this, person has to do all that, but that's not true. And we can get certain things from that kind of relationship. And then from friends like this, we can have something else fulfill us in life. So I don't think it has to come from one person, but as long as we're being fulfilled.
Yeah, agreed.
Yay. Well, I would say yes, because I really believe my TED Talk, when I did my TED Talk in 2019, was choose your family, change your life. Because I really believe that your family of choice, as is just as important for a happy, healthy life as your family, a biological family. Easy for me to say. So my biological family lives far away, but my family of choice, some live close and some live far away. You guys far away. But the person I'm working on having that relationship with is myself, because I ignored her for a lot of years. You know, I just pushed the machine of Betsy in my 20s and 30s and 40s. And I was reading a book, My Vacation, Viktor Frankl, who was in a concentration camp. And he said that if you have a strong why, you can live through any how. And he found the people that lived through the concentration camp are the people that believed there was some reason, some purpose for their life, something bigger than themselves, a person that they lived for, a cause. He wanted to write his book about psychotherapy, and that got them through the hard, like incredible hardship. So I'm really working on befriending Betsy 6.1 at 61 years old, because, you know, sometimes the computer needs a minute to process, you know, that name. Like, it's so funny. I have to go, just a minute, it'll come, and it does. But I got to love Betsy 6.1. And I think the more we love ourselves, then we are capable of loving others, because it's not about someone else fulfilling us. We can find our God, we can find ourselves, we can find our purpose, then share that in a healthy, happy way. And that, Shay, would be my conversation about the lucky applicant is when Doug was whole and complete and I was whole and complete, we choose to be together. And 97% of the time it's pretty good. And there's the 3%, but I digress. But, you know, we choose that.
Amen. Amen. I love that.
Gotta choose love for sure. I love this. This is a great conversation. And I've kind of forgotten the question, Sunny, so I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Whatever you want to say. Let's see.
We're in
I align to all of you. Like, I'm auditioning for my partner too, Shay. I've got auditions being held every once in a while. And, you know, and I have parents that were married 56 years before my mother passed away. And I've had partners in my life who were all that, and then the 3% took over and became 93%. And then it was like, well, okay, that's done. We're complete, you know, whatever. And that's all good. I'm reminded of something, though, in this conversation, which is the 8 types of love in Greek. The Greek word love, you know, has all these different ways. And eros is the romantic love, the sexual, passionate, da-da-da. Yes, that's being auditioned. That's good. We need, post more auditions for that one. And there's all these other kinds. And I see the philia is the deep friendship, which I feel like I have with all of you and with a couple of other lovely humans in my life. There's ludus, which is my personal favorite, playful love. You know, when you're just goofing off and having a good time with other people, there's this sense of a vibration of love that surrounds you. It's just awesome. There's agape, which is the love of everyone and oneness and being all one thing, which I feel often in many circles that I run in. It's amazing. There's pragma, which is a long-standing love. We'll call that kind of more unconditional love. You just love them because they are who they are, and you may not even have them in your field most of the time, but you still love them and they're there. And there's philotia, which is the love of self, which Betsy just so eloquently described, and is very important that we have a strong sense of that. There's, I don't know how to pronounce this one. It looks like storge, like stork, but it's storge. I don't know. I don't speak Greek. And for someone who's out there speaking Greek, please help us pronounce that one. But that one's familial, family love is a storge kind of love. And it does feel different. You can almost feel it just by saying it. And then the last one is one I'm going to just leave out of my experience this go around on planet Earth. And that's mania, which is obsessive love. Let's just not go there.
Let's not go there.
I can let that one just go.
Except perhaps for dark chocolate. I'm okay with that. That kind of love of dark chocolate.
You can have a mania for that kind. But what I really love about the 8 levels of love is that they do all get satisfied in different ways with different people, different experiences, and they all have at different times in our lives, a forerunner position, and then a back, and then a front, and then a side. And, you're made up of all of them, including mania for chocolate and whatever. So I just wanted to share that because you reminded me of it. And all relationships have love baked in. If there's a human involved, there's love there.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Love is the highest vibration, right? So we naturally seek that, whether you know it or not. You naturally seek that. You naturally want that. And it's wonderful when we find people that can help that, fulfill that in our lives, and to love ourselves. Betsy, I love that you said that, because that's really important. And I feel like we don't really have a society. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like society says one thing, and we've got self-help books that like say one thing, but then what we portray is a totally different thing. Right. So, but I'm with you on that. And you are the constant, you are that common denominator. So whoever you're interacting with and sharing that love, that high vibration or high frequency with is amazing. But if you don't love yourself, you're that common denominator. I think it kind of falls apart if you don't have that love for who you are and, and what you are to become. Yeah. So
beautiful.
Yay. All right. We're on to A. I don't know who's our A?
Lindsay Andriotti.
Yeah.
Like she's got a last name with
Andriotti. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. And thank you for the beautiful B and the beautiful R today. I'm stoked to have the A. My word for the day is awesome sauce. And yes, that's all one word. And no, it's not in the Scrabble dictionary, so get over it. It, though, is a word that I use quite often to describe how am I feeling on any given moment. And what it's come to mean to me and how it sort of evolved was we're all very unique human beings. We all have our own ways of being, and we all create our own version of an awesome sauce, whatever that is. And I was hanging out with a 5-star Michelin chef one day, and we just happened to be chatting about what does it take to make an awesome sauce. And the way he described it was really exactly how we form ourselves, how we test some things, we throw some stuff in a pot, we think we want that ingredient, then we go, no, not so good, don't do it that way. And we try different things, and then we let other people try that, and we test it with different humans, literally, and we form ourselves. And so my version of awesome sauce for me is being my authentic self and allowing me to be just who that is and get paid for being me. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world to just be that awesome sauce that I am. There's nothing more to do. It's just to live in that space. So what I'm curious about is on your journeys, each one of you creating your own awesome sauce. What kind of sauce are you feeling like you're becoming? What is the you that's coming through that just wants to blast out in the next year? What's your awesome sauce?
Well, I'm possessed by carbohydrates right now, so I know mine's low carb. I was like, oh my God, butter. I can have that in my sauce. Let's see what else. Yeah. Mine would be like garlic oil because that's all I can have. Butter, garlic oil with butter. But how I describe the same thing you're describing is style points. I've always called it style points. So I say like, how do you, right? Those are your style points. And I would say my style points are uplift and inspire. Everything comes back after I read Viktor Frankl's book. At the end, he said, it all comes down to what is your purpose? Why are you here? And I know my purpose is uplift, inspire, uplift, inspire, uplift, inspire, inspire, uplift. And that shows up in clothing. It shows up in books. It shows up in retreats. It shows up in the podcasts, and I go back to way back in this conversation today about what do you say no to, what do you say yes to? And I think I look at uplift and inspire are the people, places, and things to serve you, God, and all else fall away. Fall away. Because I'm not interested. I'm not interested in bitches. I'm not interested in something. It says the tension of life is what you've already achieved and what you ought to or have permission to or can. that's the tension. That keeps you mentally healthy, to admire what you've done and appreciate that, and then move to what you could be or choose to be. So I'm going to think about it as style points because they're less carbohydrates than sauce. And I only have a few, so I don't want to use a lot of carbs. But my awesome sauce, I'm going to consider style points: uplift, inspire, and hang around with amazing people that want to do the same.
Sweet. I can relate to that too. The uplift and inspire, I think, relates to all of us for sure on this particular podcast.
Especially the uplifting part, the Underwired.
Part, right? Yeah, totally. I also think that, Betsy, part of your awesome sauce is to have fun. And I think that, you make any kind of spaghetti more fun to eat because of the way that you just approach the same old with this attitude of fun. So I just wanted to share that. And I have other gifts for Sunny and Shay. Sunny, how about you next? What's your awesome sauce? What makes you awesome, honey?
I'm really on this inspirational kick, right? So I really like to take people wherever they're at in life and to inspire them to, it's not necessarily to reach a certain level or anything, because we're all on our own journey, but just to realize, wherever you're at now is fine. That is perfect. Because we're always like, oh, what's next? What's all this? And this is something that I've had to learn in my own life, is that yes, life is a journey and you're going to learn a lot in the process, but you have to be okay with where you are right now. And you have to appreciate and be thankful where you're at right now and what you've achieved up to this point. But then to also kind of break outside the mold, if you want to use a proverbial line, and really think about, what's possible. Stuff that normally, I'm looking at a lot of stuff in my life right now, like, and I'm just like, oh, I would never do that. And I kind of put myself in a little box. I'm like, but why would I never do that? It's not hurting anybody. It's nothing like that. But it's like, ever since I was a little girl, just one example, I've always hated math. And I've got in my head, I hate math. I don't want to but I told you guys earlier, I was doing all this audit stuff. So I'm adding numbers and I'm doing all this. I'm like, actually, some of this is a little fun. I'm like, why did I say I always hated math? Because simple multiplication, simple addition and subtraction, but still, like I was saving money. So it made me happy. But I am like on this journey now. I inspire myself. I'm hoping that through that and through the joy that people see in my growth, that I'm also inspiring other people. So I just think that for me, to get people to kind of shake out of like their normal routine and go, there's this big, awesome world out there and I could do anything in it. Maybe don't fit yourself, put yourself in a little box like I did with math. And say, well, maybe I am good at this. Maybe I just haven't applied myself. Maybe, maybe I do want to go to this place I never thought I'd ever want to go to in life. Maybe I do want to try this hobby that doesn't seem like, something I'd be good at, but maybe you are, so possibilities are endless. So inspire, I think, is my awesome sauce.
It is your awesome sauce. I'm also going to add on that I think part of your awesome sauce is being a permissionary, in that you make it really easy without judgment and with an open heart for people to just show up exactly as they are. And that is a very important thing that the world needs more of. So I am grateful for your permissionary capabilities.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you. Miss Shay, what's your awesome sauce?
Well, first of all, I have to say, I absolutely love this word. I use this word on a regular basis myself.
Good.
And what shows up for me are two things. One, because of the time of season that we're getting ready, we're recording this in the holiday season, gravy. And I'm like, well, I am not gravy. I am not heavy. I am not, bland. Nope, I am not. Yeah,
brown. You're not brown.
Yeah, brown. Yeah, I'm not gravy. And so what really showed now, that's my thinking brain, right? And so then when I let that go, release that, surrender to the moment, and really get in touch with what is showing up for me is hot sauce. And the reason is hot sauce is because I was told, as growing up in church, is that you should be salt and light to the world. And I was like, what does that mean? And I think salt is about bringing a little bit of flavor
Mm.
and accentuating already what people have and bringing that to the surface. So like when it's added to caramel or chocolate, it really brings that notes of what makes them so great to the surface, right?
Nice.
So salt and light, and the light is really about just everything from having fun to connecting to be inspiring to empowering to get people fired up, because that's just what I am, who I am, what I do. But really at the end of the day, it's got to be the salt and light. So yeah,
Nice.
the hot sauce, a
You're
little
the
dabble
hot
do ya,
sauce. I
a little
like
dabble do ya.
Woohoo! Oh, that's amazing, Shay. And it's so true. You are that and so much
Thank
more. And my noticing of you, my awesome sauce friend, is that you are also the fearless one. You are just so willing to jump into any circumstance without fear and go, let's do this. What's going on? Where are we going? And I think that gives a lot of people confidence, and the ability to just say, I can do that if she can do that. Yeah. You're a great exemplar of how to live fearlessly. And I really appreciate that in you. So thank you. You are all awesome sauce. And together we are one big pot of ragu. That's all I got to say. This is
I don't like it hot though, so I got to keep that hot sauce on the side.
A little dabble do ya. That's
a little
all.
dabble do ya, Betsy. We don't need it all hot.
I love you, but thanks for working that chocolate back in, because I always appreciate if chocolate can be part of this show.
Chocolate sauce. Wow, that's good. We're just ragu, and I love you all. So that was my big word for today. A is for awesome sauce, and I think that everyone has their own secret sauce, and I love how it unfolds as time goes on and it bubbles to the surface. So thanks for that. And I am going to hand it over now for that beautiful and fabulous segment called Wow to my friend Betsy.
Well, thank you so much. And what a fun show today. And wow is women of wonder, right? You meet these people along the path and what can we learn from them? And today we're going to talk about my friend, Christy Belz. She grew up in Kansas City and she just took to a fast track. She was already in her 20s, owned a house, got a great big sales job, set all the records in town, really did it up, right? Fell in love with this fabulous guy, Ferd Belz, and he moved her to Colorado. And she started her life over. She was lucky enough to get to be a philanthropist and really pick what her career was. And her son was growing up. He's now just finishing college, which is crazy. And so she decided to go into social work. So she dedicated herself to those who have nothing with a psychology background and went to social work and did all that. But along the way, she had so many interesting ups, downs, side, and crisscross. And her book is called God of Second Chances, Here I Am Again. God of Second Chances, Here I Am Again. And you can all get that on Amazon. We're doing a book club about it here in Colorado. So she put together true stories. And I must say, I read the galley proof. I wrote one of the recommendations and reviews of it. And I'm also chapter 7 about Choose Your Family, Change Your Life, because she has curated the women TED Talks in Colorado for many, many years. So she chose about 7 or 8 of the women who have done TED Talks over the years to also write a chapter in her book. But what I love the most about it is learning the true story behind the story, right? And I believe when someone's successful, they're philanthropists, they're beautiful, they're active in the community, people make stuff up, right? Oh, it's easy for them and they don't work hard and they don't care about the other people. And that is the opposite of true. Christy had lots of challenges along the way, including with some family members. And she tells this raw story. And the backstory is the F-bombs had to be edited out of the galleys because they didn't think that some of her raw story was going to really fly. But it's a fabulous book. And Christy Belz is a wonderful person. She's a speaker. She is a coach. We co-led a retreat in Hawaii this year. She has a work called Uproot, where it's going to the root of who you are, basically picturing a tree and how you were planted. So she's doing this fabulous work in the world. But what I wanted to ask you girls is, when have you asked the God of second chances for a second chance? When has been an important second chance for you? I'm going to go to Shay because her glasses match her background. That's really a deep way to choose you.
Yes, it is. And hey, sometimes it's the hair, sometimes it's the glasses. It's all good.
There you go.
I asked for a second chance about 13 years ago when I got out of an abusive relationship. And I asked, for me, I'm a very spiritual person. So I asked God, like, how can you use me in the second chance? First of all, heal me and then use me. And consecutively, parallelly, that's what he did. As I was healing, I met someone who was just a step behind me, who needed exactly what I went through, the tools that I learned. And so he was using me in that. So for me, that's just been a theme in my life this past 13 years. And I think it's even now, after I moved, I just made a big life change at the beginning of this year. And it's still part of that second chance that was 15 years ago, because I knew that would be coming. So that wasn't out of the realm, out of nowhere. That had already been bubbling and waiting to manifest itself. So
waiting for its season. Everything has a season. So waiting for the right timing.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So thank you for asking.
Second chance. I'm coming around the mountain house to Sunny because I'm going around the Brady Bunch. What about your second chances, Miss Sunny?
Oh, the first thing, I'll just go with the first thing that came to mind, because I ask for second chances a lot. But I'm reminded of my marriage, right? My husband and I, as I mentioned earlier, we've been married 18 years now. So we've been through some stuff. And we had a really rocky marriage, especially the first 5 years, because we didn't really know each other that well before we got married. Long story short, it was a God thing. I felt like God told me to marry him. And I'm like, okay, we haven't been dating for very long, but okay, let's do this. We didn't get married right away, but we made the commitment to get married. We got engaged right away. And then about 11 months later, we got married. But we dated long distance. So when you date long distance, you don't necessarily get to really know the person on a day-to-day basis, right? And I think there were a lot of surprises on both sides. Like my side, you're like, oh, you were just being kind when you did that. Okay. But I always knew, because I'm a spiritual person too, I always knew that I could go back to, what I felt like God was saying at the time, and that, he wasn't going to lead me astray. So this is the person, would be a really good fit for me. And we've grown and we've learned a lot. We made a bunch of mistakes in the beginning, honestly. And I remember looking at my husband at one point and saying, we need to redo. If we're going to make this work, we have to not forget. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like, we can't keep score. This can't keep going back to what I said 10 years ago and what you did 15 years ago or whatever. We have to clear the slate, recognize that we're both humans and we make mistakes. And, there is that, Lindsay, you were talking about different types of love. There is that unconditional love that we have. We have other types of love as well, but like there is that deep, when you bid with someone that long and you choose to be with that person, that's part of it. You should, many people develop that. We've developed that and keep going back to that. So I had to have a redo with that. And my husband and I had to be on the same page that we weren't going to keep rehashing old stuff, and that we just screwed up. Okay. We're humans. We screwed up and we hurt each other, and let that be in the past, and let's focus on how we're going to change things in the future. And we've been pretty successful. Like Betsy, there's that 3%, right? That's like, but we've been able to overcome it. When anyone that knows my story, in the details of stuff that's happened, says you guys should have never made it. I'm like, no, we should have never made it past our first 5 years.
Yeah.
But we did. But it was letting go of the past, let the past be in the past, and learn from it. Don't forget, you learn from it, you do forgive, but forgive does not mean forget, right?
Mhm.
So, and you move forward. So that would be my redo. Very grateful.
I'm giving
for
you
it.
an amen on that.
No doubt.
Hallelujah and an amen both. Okay, Linz.
Hallelujah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the first thing that came to my mind was the second chance that I was given in just being able to reinvent myself. But I feel like you were saying, Betsy, something about you're in version 6.1. I feel like I'm on version 22.7. I don't know where I'm at in this journey of whatever. And I feel like I've been given many blessed chances to really reinvent. But this one has been particularly cool in that I've really left my career of being, putting quotes around that, doing a coach and a mentor and a teacher. I've done all of that. And that was my quote unquote title, all these years of what do you do? Well, that's what I do. The truth of it is I'm reinvented. I am now the kindness kahuna. And it is all about just spreading kindness in the world. And I don't even know how or what's going to happen with all of that still. And it's been lovely to just set down all the doing of what it should look like and just be. So I was given a really amazing set of circumstances and gifts along the way to be able to just do that. And now I feel like I'm in it full force. Like, oh, cool. I just get to do kindness. What does that mean?
I don't know.
How do we do
It
that?
sounds really good, though. It's good to have God on your side for that one.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
thanks for asking.
And I would say, I have a second chance to put down the, I would say, heavy burden of 18 years of camp experience, something I invented that did amazing things in the world, but to put that down and pass that on to a next generation and reinvent myself as an artist. And I found myself in Maui introducing myself in a class I took, and they said, well, who are you? And I said, oh, I'm an artist from Denver. And I was like, oh, I'm an artist from Denver.
Did anyone else hear that?
Gosh, I said it. I said the A word, and it wasn't in raw. Maybe we'll have A for artist next time. So yes. But I really feel that this is a spiritual journey as different than my 20s, 30s, achieving goals, be this, do that. The guy Dallas, who started something called The Chosen, was interviewed this week when they did their theatrical release, and it beat out the Hollywood movies in the movie theaters. And everybody was shocked that some Christian television show on an app, crowdfunded, was winning over Hollywood. And he said, in the old days, I cared, but the new days, I gave it up because it serves God, and that's the only thing I care. So I think that's the same new days I'm talking about. Well, it has been a blast to have all of you with Underwired, with Lindsay, Sunny, Shay, and me going on this journey where we are just opening our heart to you. We hope that you'll subscribe and listen to this on your favorite app. Tell all of your friends to be part of Underwired. Join us in the Global Sisterhood Podcast Network. It's voices that matter, and we want to amplify them. This is your hosts, all four of us. We can't wait to see you the next time.
Yay! Bye, everybody.
I just wanna love you.